Oh, so we are here recording live the very first day you are coming back from your 7-week vacation, Dr. Sabrina.
Yes.
And I just have to say, I missed you so much.
I missed you too, Melissa. I missed the whole team. And I just want to be really clear, like this is real live. This is my first meeting back in the office. I haven't communicated with anyone in 7 weeks. Heather's my executive assistant. She sent me a summary of emails that need my attention when I get back. It's like a list of 8 that came in over the last 7 weeks that are waiting for my response. And the only thing that I have done since before coming on this episode is I looked at our KPIs just to kind of bring myself up to speed. And that's it. There were no urgent Voxers waiting for me. So I'm here and I'm fully present and just very delighted to be back.
I'm so thrilled you're back. Well, so that we don't forget it, how were the KPIs?
They're fine. They are look better than Q2 last year. So everything just hummed along and I wasn't here for 7 weeks of it.
Well, we're going to record 2 episodes today, full transparency here. And on this episode, I just want to hear about your time away. And then the next episode in live time, I'm going to catch you up on what happened on the delivery side while you were gone.
Excellent. I love that.
We shared how there will probably be some things implemented when you get back. And yes, there are. So as you're tuning into this episode, plan to tune into the next episode so that you can hear live what it's really like and get Dr. Sabrina's expression right on the call.
As I hear all the new updates.
It blows my mind that a business owner can take 7 weeks off. And we joked about this so much. No one could remember how long you were going to be taking off.
No.
And it was, I think, about a week before you came back for our Ascension clients in our Better Business, Better Life program and our group coaching. You attend that group and we co-facilitate that. And I thought, they might want to know when Dr. Sabrina's coming back. So I took a look in our project management tool to see when that date was. And I just found it so funny because we have everything so tight now that you can take that time and it's beautiful. So I just want to hear about what it's actually like. I imagine very few business owners listen to our podcast have ever taken 7 weeks off by choice, at least. And I want to hear all about your experience and whatever you would like to share.
Sure. So I will say it is like a full detox. It's cleansing. And I didn't realize how burned out I was. And I want to be super clear. This was not burnout from Tap the Potential at all. It was burnout from life. And what I realized very quickly, like the first couple of days on vacation, and what was the best part is I had no meetings to be at. And I didn't have to check Voxer. I didn't have to check Slack. I didn't have to respond to emails. And so it's that feeling of like time just opens up and there's no, that sense of no obligation somewhere else besides my family. I mean, obviously like kids graduating and, swim team stuff and all that still went on. I didn't get a vacation from that. But when I say I was burned out from life, it's those of you who are longtime listeners will know that last summer, my husband, Ned, passed away suddenly and unexpectedly, just less than a week before I was supposed to be out on a 6-week vacation or 4-week vacation. And that, even though I was out, I think I was out 6 weeks, during that time, it was constant dealing with life and the estate, and just because I had no access to his passwords, our estate planning, there's lots of things there, but the attorney basically didn't wrap it up for 2 years. So it wasn't done, and everything's in probate. And if you've ever dealt with probate, it's insane. We're still dealing with it. It's not resolved. So it was all this logistics. And so that 6 weeks was no break. And I remember coming back, Melissa, and I told you I've been nonstop. And you said, you need to take Labor Day weekend off. Or it was just Labor Day, like Monday of Labor Day. And I said, I can't, because there's so much that is time sensitive that needs my attention in my personal life. And you said, you have to. And so I did. I made a list of, here's what I have to accomplish in the next 4 days to be able to take. And I took the 3 days off, because I knew if you were telling me I should take Labor Day, I really needed 3 days. It wasn't just one day. And so I took those 3 days, and that was it helped me. But what I realized on this vacation is I took 2 weeks off at Christmas. And I think I took some time off at Thanksgiving because our offices were closed. But that's really been all. And all of that was still very much consumed with dealing with life stuff. And so even though I'm only working at Tap the Potential about 10 hours a week, my days have been filled with taking care of the family, taking on all the things that Ned used to do around here. We have a farm. We have 30 goats. We now have 3 horses. A crazy Irish Wolfhound puppy that had to be trained in the middle of that, because he's 140 pounds. And success from this vacation is I actually got him where I can walk him off leash in our home or in our yard, because we don't have a fenced yard. And he will not take off after deer. And we had a real test 2 days ago. I walked him in the middle of the day, and I looked over by the barn, and there were wild boars running across in front of the barn, and he didn't take off. Yeah, he listened to me. I called him to my side, and I told him to sit, and he did. And I was like, oh, thank goodness. Because it was so stressful. Just, anyway, and we don't typically have wild boars. I don't know why they visited that day. Hopefully they never come back. But anyway, so I was just so burnt out from life. And so being able to just detox from all of that. And I didn't do hardly anything on the estate during that time. I did the bare minimum. And I just thought at this point, everything can wait 6 or 7 weeks. It's waited a year. It can wait another 6 or 7 weeks. And I really wanted to be present with my girls. It's a very hard time, obviously the 1-year anniversary of Ned's passing, Father's Day, Ned's birthday is coming up at the end of July. And so it's just a very emotional time. And I wanted to be present with myself too. So we took multiple vacations. I've only been home for about 3.5 weeks out of the 7 weeks. We went to the beach for a week. I love the beach. That is my place. Like, I just want to sit on the beach and read a novel. I didn't read any business books on vacation. I did listen to a really good audiobook. I need to recommend it here for everyone listening. Let me pull it up in my library real quick. The Courage to be Disliked.
Ooh.
So I cannot, in terms of like the presentation on the audiobook, not so great. But the message in this book is so powerful. And it is anybody who has any people type in them where you care and you want to be nice to other people. This book will, yes, Melissa, and this book is all about knowing what our tasks are. In other words, staying in our lane and recognizing what we're responsible and what we're not responsible for. And so I've always been really good with boundaries and just all of that. But this was a great reinforcer for me around, it's okay if people don't like you, because, they're not. And you're not here to be everybody's person. So I highly recommend that book. So I listened to a couple books like that. Mostly read a lot of novels. We also, so the beach was great. I loved it. My kids are not beach people. They spent a lot of time in the Airbnb. And I just said, oh, well, more screen time than I would have wanted them to have, more time sitting in the air conditioning, but I needed that time sitting on the beach. We did bring my daughter's metal detector, and we walked the beach and did metal detecting. We brought a kite and flew a kite. I did get them out a couple times. I could never get them to build a sandcastle. And I was even going to bring in, like, they had a class where they would send somebody to you to teach you how to do an elaborate sandcastle. And they were like, no, won't. So that was a fail. And then we went to the lake twice, and we have a boat. Ned always drove the boat. I have driven it one time when he was alive without him, because he was sick on a day that we were at the lake, like with the flu. And last year I was going to sell that boat because I thought, why, it's an expense to maintain it at the lake, and you got to winterize it and de-winterize it. And then there's the monthly fee and any maintenance that comes up, because boats always need maintenance. And my kids said, Mom, not yet. Don't sell it yet. And everybody tells widows, wait a year before you make any major decisions. And I'm so glad I waited, because we had so much fun. I drove the boat. The girls tubed. We brought some of their friends with us. They had a great time. It was incredible. And I have now learned how to get the boat in the slip without hitting any other boats, which, gosh, that's really stressful. But I've managed. And but it's really funny. And we're so good at Tap the Potential about making sure that everything is documented and systematized, and there's no key team member dependency. And boy, in the last year, we've really put a lot of emphasis on that. But in our households, key team member dependency just happens. Like, you just naturally take on these roles. Like, the husband does this stuff, the wife does this stuff. Mm-hmm. And so when it came to, like, operating the boat lift, attaching the battery in the boat, and all the things that need to be done, Ned just did all that. And like spraying weeds, with the ATV sprayer, I did that. I have to learn all of that stuff. I got my pesticide applicator's license, so I do it properly, because it's a big deal. You don't want to kill your neighbor's stuff, and you don't want to contaminate the waterways, all that kind of stuff. But what I realized in dealing with the boat is, even though he had handled everything, he had made effort to teach Kylie and Karina certain things. And so Kylie knew how to operate the boat lift, and she knew how to attach the battery. We have a drain in our driveway. When it rains, all the water kind of goes into this big area in our driveway. And if you don't keep that drain clean, you can't get to the car without big wading boots on. And so Karina came to me at the beginning of the break, and she said, I would be happy to clean the drain, Mom. And so cleaning the drain means you get a screwdriver and you sit there and you have to unscrew all the little drain hole things, and then clean it out. And it's nasty. So she had gloves on. And she was out there for like 3 hours in the heat doing this, but she did it from start to finish. And Ned had shown her. She had done it with Ned. And even the spraying of the weeds, she was always the one who drove the ATV while he sprayed. So she was able to give me some tips to make it easier and safer than what I was doing. So I would just say in your household, make sure you have no key team member dependency. Whatever your husband does, you need to know how to do it, and do it more than once a year. Like, be out there in the midst and take responsibility for doing it. Like some of the stuff Ned had showed me 3 years ago, one time, well, that doesn't stick, right? And computer passwords, use a program like LastPass, share that with your loved ones so you have access to computer passwords. Ned had this folder, and whenever I would tell him, I need to have your passwords in case anything ever happens to you and you need to have mine, he said, oh, they're all written on a folder, and here it is. I knew exactly where that folder was. Well, I mean, talk about like it's written everywhere. It's not like in that neat lines and things are crossed out, arrows are drawn, and not a single password has worked. And I've tried multiple things. So, and the other thing I would say that's really important in your estate planning is when you create wills, there's a passage in the will, and it's like boilerplate language, where you're giving the executor of your will digital access. So that was in our will, and it's been there for years. And I thought that would mean, yeah, I just call up Apple and whoever, Gmail, to be able to get into his email. No. And I don't know what that really means, but I haven't been able to access anything. And I've run into so much difficulty that's made things that should have been super simple just take days, hours, weeks, because of that. So I would say make sure you share passwords and set up a digital legacy contact on Apple, and understand, and also share all your Apple passwords, because understand that when you have digital legacy access through Apple, it takes weeks, weeks for them to unlock things, and you don't get everything. So yeah. I mean, these companies, Spotify treats your private playlists like it's like they're Fort Knox, and we just want his playlist because he loves music. But oh no, we can't get that. He has a Spotify password listed on his little folder, but it's not accurate. And so, I mean, we just have had to let go of that. So that's not necessarily lessons from a 7-week vacation. It's life lessons that we need to set our families up for success and not assume we're going to be around. Life happens. Ned passed suddenly and unexpectedly. He was healthy. There was no reason like it. And he had a pulmonary embolism. He was on blood thinners. He was active. All the things that you're supposed to do to prevent problems from that, he was doing it. So there should have never been any issues. His doctor even said that. It's just random. And so life is random. I mean, we're seeing in the news, like the flooding victims in Texas, things just happen. And the more we can do to set our family members up for success, the better. And so on this 7 weeks, I just needed the time to like breathe, to own what I have accomplished in the last year in terms of maintaining our farm, our household, the landscaping, the yard, our finances and the family. Kylie is going off to Oklahoma State in the fall. She made the ranch team. So that means that her horse goes with her. And so sending a daughter to college with her horse is a big undertaking. Karina and I have gotten to trail riding horses because we didn't want to be without horses after B goes to college with Kylie. And Kylie and I went out on a trail ride to just test everything last week. And it was a good thing we did that, because my horse was great for 45 minutes and then he just stopped and he was done. in the middle of the trail. And Kylie was far ahead of me because she thought, Mom's got it. Everything's been going fine. So it took her about 10 minutes to get back to me. And then we had to work really hard we still haven't figured out why the horse didn't move. She's convinced it's rider error. In other words, me. And I have some skills I need to develop. So I'll be working on that. And as I reflect on our team and coming back, I think it is so amazing to just let you guys run things fully and own it for 7 weeks. And for you to know that I have the complete faith that you guys are doing this, and that things are going well. I know things are going well because I've looked at the KPIs. And yeah, no matter what is going on in a business, if you've taken a 4-week vacation or a 2-week vacation a year ago and you think, oh, I've done that, my business is fine. No, you have to do this ongoing, because businesses are constantly evolving. Leadership team members are constantly stepping up. And we need everybody on our team taking these extended vacations, because the leaders coming up behind you also need that opportunity to say, hey, I got it. I can do this. And the experience of figuring it out when you don't know what to do. Because if we're real as entrepreneurs, that's our life experience. Every day, there's something that goes on in the business that you've never encountered before, and you have to make it up on the fly and figure out how you're going to handle it. And so what makes us special as entrepreneurs that we can somehow magically figure that stuff out? Well, our team members can do it too. And it's a tremendous confidence builder. I was a confident person before the events of the last year, and I'm like 1,000 times more confident than I was this year ago.
Wow. Wow. I just appreciate you sharing this so much. And what I hear our clients say is they're so focused on getting everything together in their business, but the planning on the personal life always suffers. So this is huge awareness and reminder. And thank you for sharing all of this. I've had the privilege to go to your property. I've been to your home a few times. I fully believe when you said Ned had taught the girls certain things, I totally see that. Even just one thing that you're sharing feels so overwhelming. And I know the dog is bigger than you are.
Yes.
So I've tried to drive a boat, and I'm hearing all of these things, and you are just such a powerhouse. I'm in such awe of you. And I just want to say what an inspiration you are. And the fact that you are sharing this with everyone is just moving and powerful. And thank you. Thank you for sharing.
Absolutely. And I realize there's one critical piece that I haven't addressed in all of this. After Ned passed, like 5 days later, the lawyer had me in her office to update my will and my estate planning. And I have recently revisited that and realized, wow, there's a lot of gaps, including the biggest gap, which was what happens to tap the potential if something happens to me. And so I spent time updating my will, my estate planning, and detailing what happens to tap the potential if something happens to me, because that affects a lot of people. Like and I know I don't want anyone to experience the stress that I experienced last year when I lost Ned. I mean, the stress of losing your spouse, your soulmate, your best friend. He's everything in my world. I miss every moment of every day. I'm missing him. I feel his absence. That's never going to go away. But you layer on top of that the stress of all the things that need to be done. And so even in my estate planning, I detailed what to do with all the animals, because we have, I think, close to 40 animals. And like Kylie and Karina, are they going to manage that? I doubt it. And so just laying all of that out, I would encourage you really just sit down and think through, okay, if I die tomorrow, who is it going to hurt? And how do I make sure they are taken care of? And the decisions are hard. Thinking through like who gets what, like meaningful possessions, is painful. And Ned and I didn't want to do it. That's part of why the estate planning drug out, because it was just hard to sit down and think about all that stuff. But just do it, because you're going to save your loved ones a lot of heartache, and it'll give you tremendous peace of mind.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I am so thankful that our team is so phenomenal and that you were able to take this time. You very much deserve everything.
I appreciate the team for just even making this possible. It's huge.
Okay. Well, thank you for everything that you shared. And on our next episode, we're going to talk about what happened while you were gone. Okay. Thanks everyone for tuning in. We'll see you next time.